I am so excited to welcome you back to another episode of the Elevate With Us podcast. I'm even more excited to welcome our guest today, Kurt Stein from HouseScan. And if you are involved in the Jacksonville real estate market at all, there is no way you have missed him. As a dad and a husband, he has started an amazing business based on a need. He had some experiences with home inspections and felt a need to improve them. And I hope you follow him on Instagram. His platform there is amazing. He's always sharing great stories. So here it is. I'd like to welcome Kurt to our show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. So tell us about how you started and why you started HouseScan.
Sure. So yeah, the story goes, I had a few home inspections, during my first career, which is engineering and manufacturing. So
oh, wow.
I came from that world. I worked at Maxwell House downtown, had a good job and bought a couple properties. I house hacked, actually. So I
just learned about this. I love it.
I lived in the house. I had, 3-4 roommates and basically lived for free. And that kind of gave me some cash flow to and go buy another property and then another property.
And you kept those properties?
Yep. I still have them today. I've never sold a property. So.
Oh, wow. So how many did you have?
I've got 4 residential and then a couple small little commercial properties.
Wow, a little real estate mogul you are. I love this.
Yep. Had, my basic home inspections back then and didn't have amazing experiences. They were fine, but I remember thinking okay, this inspection, the guy missed the water heater in the closet that's leaking. There was basically a cardboard box in front of it. He didn't move the cardboard box or even mention it to me when I was at the inspection. And so moved in, basically had, a leak and mold everywhere. It was, major pain in the butt.
Sure. So, cost you money and time, the two double whammy.
Double whammy. But, had a small little, blurb in his inspection report buried, on page 150 or whatever, that he's not liable for that. So that was bad experience number one. I remember I had to, I wasn't in town, but then I had to bring a check to an inspection. So I had to write a check, have somebody actually deliver it to the home inspector.
What year was this?
This is mid-20 teens. So
you had to bring a check?
Again,
wow.
same sort of reaction, which is man, we're in the year 2015 or whatever.
Right.
Why do I have to bring a check to the inspection? And then I think if I could give one more example, it was so wind mitigation and 4-point inspections, part of insurance purposes.
Yep.
I wasn't really familiar with these at the time, and so I remember I had to basically I was a week before closing. My insurance company called me and said, "Hey, we need a wind mitigation and a 4-point." I was like, "What the heck is that?" And so I called my inspector, and he's like, "Yeah, I have them. It'll be $200 extra." I was just why wasn't this conversation had up front?
Sure.
Why didn't you provide this? Why am I just finding out about this now? A couple bad experiences that I had and, worked through all of them and, they're all fine. But I just remembered those. And then, I was in this manufacturing engineering world.
Sure.
And I actually kind of quit. I took 6 months off and traveled because I was just working my tail off for 5-6 years. And I traveled for 6 months. And then I was just starting to look for work again. And I was out to dinner with my wife, her whole family. There's probably 6 or 7 of us there. And everybody there, there's a couple that own rental properties, real estate agent, insurance, lender, broker.
Sounds like you're setting up a bad joke. There was an insurance agent, a realtor.
Yeah, right. Walking to a bar. But so everybody dabbled in real estate in some capacity.
Got it.
And we started talking about home inspections. I brought up my, bad experiences, and I realized that everyone else at the table had bad experiences as well. So it was the light bulb moment went on, and my wife's dad looked over. He's like, "Kurt, you're not working right now. You have a great background. Why not start a home inspection company?" And so that was the spark. And yeah, just 2 days later, got my LLC registered and started figuring everything out from there. And it's been a pretty darn good ride ever since. So.
It sounds like it. I know you've built a really amazing company that's very reputable. People seek you out everyone loves working with you. So what do you think makes you different than the other home inspection companies? Like, you saw a need and you fixed it, but what was that and what did you do to get there?
Sure. So yeah, it comes down, like the way I always explain it is we don't do anything like catastrophically or drastically different than any other home inspection company.
Got it.
But what we do is we take those 10 or 15 pain points that I had and that everybody else at that table had, and we addressed each and every one. So like and that's, sometimes they're just small little changes, small differences, but when you add up all of those things that we do, it makes a pretty profound, different and a more valuable experience for not only the real estate agent, but also the buyer, really just everybody involved. So
for sure. So you started in 2017 and now we're quite a few years later. Like, what was your growth like? So it was just you in 2017, and were you doing the home inspections yourself, and were you a one-man show?
Everything.
Did your wife help at all, or was it like it was
everything
like you
from the start?
You were one-man show.
So yeah, doing inspections, doing the marketing, hitting real estate offices, passing out flyers.
Sure.
If I'm up in an attic and I get a phone call, I either have to schedule the inspection right then, or what I found out is I got pretty lucky. So I was one of the first 10 users of a new inspection software that came out in 2017.
Okay.
Called 𝗥𝗢𝗄𝗃.
Oh yeah.
Basically every single home inspection company that is worth anything or is like growing, they're all using 𝗥𝗢𝗃. And so they have probably 10,000 accounts now across the country, but I was one of the first 10 users.
First 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's an incredibly better inspection software that solves a lot of problems. But they have an online scheduler. And so when it was just me, I basically, if I'm in the attic and I'm sweating bullets, I say, hey, hop on our website, schedule your inspection. It will spit out a price for you. It's super easy. It's streamlined. If you have any questions, I'll give you a call back later, whatever. So I really relied on that and like the technology to do the work of, an office person.
For sure. Yeah.
Early on. And then once we got really busy, which was like pretty quickly, like the feedback from real estate agents was good early on, although there's certainly issues, and I'm a new inspector, so I was like figuring things out as I'm going. Some of those early inspections weren't the best inspections in the world.
It's okay.
Which, yeah, exactly. It's okay. Live and you learn. But I was like just always really focused on process, like how can we get better with our inspections, learn from our mistakes, and just like provide more value to the customer.
Sure. And
then it was like really like when we got busy, which was first few months of really rolling the service out.
Like within like your 3 to 4 months, you were growing exponentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was at capacity in about 3-4 months doing inspections.
Which
is like 2 a day.
That was enough. So that's 2 inspections a day roughly.
A day.
And were you working 6 days a week?
Well, man, for 5 years, I would say 6-7 days a week.
6 or 7 days a week, yeah.
Just like nonstop. I mean, it was my life. Eat, sleep, breathe, home inspections.
So how does someone become a home inspector? Like you said, you created an LLC, but I'm going to make an assumption that there is a class or a test or a licensing similar to becoming a realtor.
It's actually very similar to becoming a real estate agent. So I think it's a 120-hour course. You have to get licensed. So you have to pass an exam that's through the state. And then you have to have insurance and a couple other like little, check the box.
Got it.
Sort of things. So it's relatively easy. Like it's probably way too easy to become a home inspector. Probably similar.
Still the same way.
Exactly.
Same.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Yeah. Like anybody can go out there and get their license. And then like from there, that's really like what separates like high producing agents, like great agents versus somebody that sells one house every 3 years.
Right.
So same thing in our industry. You can get your license and become a home inspector very easily, but then can you actually get referrals? Can you actually get home inspection jobs? Or are you going to do a couple jobs, kill the deal, piss off the agent, piss off the client,
sure.
Miss things, not be thorough. And then, your business is basically like never even got off the ground, which is most home inspection companies. So,
well, it's hard, right? Being a small business owner, it's not easy. Right, I can relate to that, and
it's like the hardest thing in the entire world.
It's very hard. Right?
I have so much respect for any business owner.
Same, so much.
Yep.
Yeah, especially when you're new and young and you're doing it, and you have something you're passionate about, which you obviously saw a need and you fixed it, and you feel passionate about it. And it's just such a great story. I love that you leveraged your time, right? You had this opportunity to use an amazing software that allowed you to have a scheduler. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Like, what an amazing, that probably really led to your success because it gave you the opportunity to be like 3 people.
For sure. Yeah. And like along with that, there was probably 5 or 10 things that we were doing that no other inspection company was doing. So,
okay. What were you guys doing?
So like all of our pricing was all listed on our website. There's still, so like transparency was a big thing for me. Again, like not
Love
knowing
that.
like, cause that was another thing. Like when I was calling around for my home inspections, I had to, get 3 prices from 3 different people.
Sure.
Some people pick up, some people will call you back at 5 o'clock when they're done with their home inspections. So it was just kind of like this whole like back and forth, like not a super easy process. And I was like, man, like, you hop on Amazon, you hop on all these websites, like their prices are there, you know what you're paying up front. So why not like, if the house is 4,000 square feet and built in 1920 and it has a crawl space, like somebody should be able to see exactly what it costs.
Like check the little boxes and it spits out a price.
Exactly. Yep.
That's super cool.
So we did that. We were the first company in Jacksonville to just put our prices online.
Love it.
Got a ton of like flack from other home inspectors, like, you're killing our industry, like we're not going to be able to upsell, different services because, we need like basically just people, other inspectors that were set in their ways. So you were what I call a
disruptor.
You're definitely
a disruptor. I like disruptors.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Shaking things up. It's okay to be different.
It was like weird and difficult at times. And like,
I'm sure.
Definitely have like self-doubts, but it's turned out pretty damn good. So.
Sounds like it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Another thing, like, so I mentioned earlier that the wind mitigation and the 4-point. So
yes.
We just like basically I figured out really early on that these 2 reports you're already at the house, you already have the pictures. It literally takes like 3 minutes to put these reports together, and folks are charging an extra $50, $75, $100 a piece.
And you were going to get charged $200.
Yeah, I was getting, like it was $100 for each report. So each
report, $100.
Yeah.
And you just said it was 3 minutes of work.
3 minutes of work.
It's a pretty good ROI.
Really good ROI. But then for the consumer, like for again, there was a pain point there where it was like, hey, like, why am I only finding this out? It feels like a bait and switch. Like 1 week before closing.
You had to have it. You're like, not going to close. Right. So
exactly.
Like you're giving them $200 because lose the house, don't get insurance, which if you have a mortgage, you must have insurance.
Exactly.
So you had to have it.
Yep. So we just started offering it like, hey, if you want the home inspection, we're going to give you a wind mitt and a 4-point along with it.
No cost.
No cost. It's just included. It's complimentary.
Wow.
And it's like streamlined. Like,
sure.
Like nobody ever has to really even understand these documents.
Right.
They don't have to ask and understand if they need to pay for them. They don't have to ask 1 week before closing if they need them. They're just there.
Sure.
So
they automatically get them. They're not like even if they didn't order it and ask for it.
Yep.
When they get their home inspection report, one of the documents they get is a
wind mitigation and a
4-point.
And a 4-point.
Can you tell us what those are? The 4-point is 4 different things with the home, right? That's hence its name.
Yeah. So the 4-point is it helps the insurance company determine insurability of the property.
Okay.
So basically, instead of getting that full, let's just call it 100-page home inspection report.
Yes.
Where they're going to look through that and then they're never, ever going to provide coverage because they're an insurance company and they don't want to know every single little detail with the house. They just want to know basic information on the 4 major systems: roof, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. So like basic ages, basic, conditions. Does it work? Does it not? Basic stuff.
Is it a pass-fail or is it just data?
It's just data on our end, but then the insurance company will look at it as a pass-fail.
So they'll interpret it.
Yeah.
I understand.
So if polybutylene piping is in the house, they're going to ask you to replace it.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a Federal Pacific electric panel, they're probably going to ask you to replace it.
What's that? What? Say that again.
It's a brand of an electric panel. So
Federal Pacific. Sounds terrible.
It's a fire hazard. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
And when do we have those in Jacksonville? Clearly, I never experienced one.
See them every week almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so consumers just don't know that they have them, or they know but they just.
So yeah, I mean, all of these things, I mean, every house has, certain conditions that now insurance companies don't love, and they might ask you to address it or replace it or something, or they might not provide you coverage. And so, yeah, I mean, they're in every single house. I mean, not every single house, but like
there's you see them all.
There's stuff. And so every insurance company interprets things differently. So some might provide coverage, some might not. So
crazy.
Really, it's just like, to me, it's an unnecessary evil in the whole entire transaction process. The insurance company almost always needs it, but it doesn't necessarily help anybody, like the real estate agent or the actual buyer. So again, it's just something that we provide. It's there, to give the insurance company.
Got it. So you started in 2017 with just you, and now we're in 2023. What's the business look like now?
Yeah, so we've got 20 team members.
20?
20.
Wow.
We've got 14 trucks on the road, 20 team members. We've got 8 full-time home inspectors, so just doing 2 inspections almost every day, all around Northeast Florida.
That's a lot.
And then it's a lot. So we're doing about 300 home inspections a month right now.
300 home inspections a month.
Which is
pretty rock star.
It's a crap ton.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's really amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
No small feat. So if there's someone listening that might not want to start a home inspection company, but wants to start a business and wants to learn how to scale from someone that's done it, what are some great pieces of advice you could give them on what to to do or even what not to do? I feel like you can learn a lot from both things. What do you think was or who helped? Anyone help you?
I had a little bit of help in the very beginning.
Okay.
But really, I mean, it was just mainly myself.
Wow.
Me, myself, and I, and just trying to figure all this stuff out.
Pretty rock star, man. Pretty rock star.
It's been a great experience, but like if I can answer that question, it'd be like, do you have 5 years to like literally dedicate to something and like almost forget about every single thing?
5-year plan.
Yeah. So like, I mean, my health went to shit. My relationships went to shit. Like, didn't do much fun stuff for 5 years. Like it was literally to like eat, sleep, breathe, home inspections, build this business. And like now, things are much better. I actually have a life, and, now you don't have to do it that way.
Sure.
Right? Like there's 100 different ways to skin a cat, but that's kind of how I chose. Like I just went all in and just like put all my time, into this and try to figure it out.
Well, it sounds like it worked, and you're reaping the rewards from it now.
And it's like, I think no business is ever like, I won, right? It's kind of like it's just this never-ending game of like trying to grow and like just keep doing better and providing more value and all of that stuff. We still have our challenges today, but it's
worse.
Like for the last month, we've been slow. I'm trying to figure out how do we drum up demand and, do more home inspections and keep the schedules filled. But it's, for 5 years, it was just like nose down, working just nonstop.
Yeah.
So that would be like one piece of advice is just
show up.
Yeah, I mean it's just a lot. Like I said earlier, like I have like now, especially like after managing, a team and bringing people on and having personnel issues at, certain times, like the business owner, I mean, there's just so much in that role and that, so much responsibility. Like at the end of the day, like I go to sleep every night thinking that I need to put food on all 20 team members' tables and like for them to support their families. So it's like huge responsibility that I don't take lightly. It's just hard. I mean, it's stressful at times. It feels like I'm sure you might be in the same boat that
I totally understand. I mean, I can totally relate, and we can even just talk about the month of August, right? It was a slow real estate month. It tends to be, though, if you look at it historically. I've sold real estate in multiple areas, and I find that we have like two slow times in North Florida. The around school starts till after Labor Day kind of slows down. It makes sense with the cycle of sales. You kind of didn't find a house by the time school starts. You're like, life's busy. Let me enjoy summer. I've been, looking at houses all summer.
Exactly how it is for us. It's like
same thing. And
2 weeks, and it's like, why is the phone not ringing?
And what's funny is it sneaks up on me every year, and then I remember, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I should remember. We should both remember and plan a vacation, right? Like tell everyone to plan a vacation.
100%.
So let's remind each other, okay?
It's a good idea.
In about 6 months, say don't forget to plan that vacation in August.
Yeah, because we're going balls to the wall for, spring through summer, and then it's just like hits a wall, and it's like, what the hell happened?
Well, it's seriously like,
yeah,
there's such a halt to it that it surprises you. And I don't know if you find this. I find like December 15th to the week school gets back tends to be slow for us as well. And I think it's the same with the cycle of sales. It's people are getting ready for holidays, they're traveling. If they haven't found a home, they're like, well, why am I going to, oh, shoot, I haven't bought any presents for the holidays yet.
Yeah.
I better go do that.
Yep.
So I find that time to be a little bit slow for new contracts. You still might have a bunch of closings, but they tend to do the same. So it's funny, it's not like that everywhere. That's the cycle of real estate in North Florida, which is funny. It's just a little bit different. So you do home inspections in North Florida. What's your coverage area? Do you go all the way to Fernandina?
So up to the Georgia border. So Fernandina, Callahan, everything up there.
You lead that whole,
we'll pretty much go
Nassau.
About an hour outside of Jacksonville in every direction.
Okay.
So like even south, we'll hit Palatka, we'll hit Palm Coast.
Okay.
We will go to Daytona.
Okay.
Charge a travel fee to go all the way down there. But we cover like almost all of Northeast Florida other than maybe Gainesville. So
got it.
Gainesville's a bit too far.
It is far. It is. Yeah. It is far. No, that's fair. I mean, that's what people want to know is kind of what your coverage area is, and you're covering all of North Florida.
And
so that's great.
Yeah. And most home inspectors in Jacksonville will just cover like Duval, Clay, St. John's, and Nassau. And so we do hit basically one more county
on
every
each direction. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So can you share with us like a really crazy home inspection story? Like I'm sure you've got tons of them, or something that was just surprising or...
I have a ton of them, but then every single time somebody asks me this question, I always struggle to come up.
You can't think of any?
Yeah, it's like...
There's got to be like, I know you just, because I follow you on Instagram, there was just one with like a roof where they had... I mean, I watched it like I think I shared it with people.
Right.
There was like hole in the roof and it was covered with like a flap.
Yeah, like a rubber flap.
Like I didn't know what it was. I was like, is this... I had no idea what it was, but it wasn't even the right color. And you just lifted it up and there's a hole. Like, did they not think anyone was going to find it? I mean,
what? A long time ago, I stopped trying to understand sellers and like people that live in houses.
Okay, I understand. Because drive yourself crazy and you're just
exactly.
Like you live like this?
What? Exactly. We'll have like a customer that's like why did they install it like that, or why is this like this? And we're just like, look, if we tried to understand why everybody did things the way that they did,
we go nuts.
We'd go nuts. We'd be psychologists and whatever, and we're just home inspectors. So
we're just home inspectors. Yeah.
So it's pretty wild. We'll see some crazy stuff.
You found a hole in a roof. What else?
Hole in a roof, and just like anything and everything. I mean, like literally for anybody that's listening, like if you could think of like the craziest thing that you would ever find in houses, like we've seen all of it. We've been in I think north of 15,000 houses now.
15,000. That's a lot.
A lot of houses. All in Northeast Florida.
Hard to remember all of them. I understand.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I just thought of one in Arlington. We had one. It was kind of sad. Just bullet holes just everywhere through the front of the house. So blood splattered on the walls.
Nice. That's special.
Yeah. Little like teddy bears on the floor. Like it was like actually terrible and sad.
That's really terrible. So then how do you write that in the report? Like, do you have
just like that? It was
just like that. Okay,
like bullet holes in the front of the house.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
Had a house about a year ago that I was at. There was maybe 20 pit bulls tied up all throughout the yard.
Like tied? I mean, you mean like
tied onto like a sketchy little rope that like
a rope.
could probably like snap in like any second.
Yeah.
That to this day is the only inspection that I've ever was not able to complete, just because I was like, I'm not going to risk my life over.
I mean, in all fairness, it wouldn't matter if they're pit bulls or not. 20 dogs of any kind that are tied, it leads to aggression because they're protective. I mean, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Be scared. Horrible for those animals.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like not the nicest neighborhood. I mean, I actually did make it into the house for like 5 seconds, and there was just like crates piled up floor to ceiling in every room.
Were there animals in them?
Most of them were outside.
Oh.
But I mean, it was messed up. Like
it was not
dogs just like barking
very
the entire time. And then like a week later, I was talking to somebody about it, and they're like, oh yeah, like so-and-so died from, they got eaten by a pit bull or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm very happy I didn't finish that inspection because,
I mean, again, almost 20 of any breed of dog, or 20 just dogs in general. It could be 13 different breeds there.
For sure.
And they will then have a pack mentality, and that's very scary. I mean,
it was terrible. Yeah.
Wow.
And like, I will pretty much inspect anything in any situation, like no matter who's breathing down my neck, yelling at me, whatever's going on. I think like our company, we kind of pride ourselves on that. Like,
right. You mean like when the buyer brings their dad and their dad is like, back 20 years ago, I was a home inspector too.
Exactly.
I'm going to be riding with you. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah. All of that all the time. We have to keep a smile on our face and provide a great service.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes, 15 people in the house that, the buyer wants to bring their entire extended family and neighbors and everything. And, everyone's asking questions, and it is what it is. Like, so, we'll keep doing our home inspection and we'll get through it. But
one of my agents had a home inspection, and everyone was there. The buyer and the seller.
Yep.
Tons of the buyer's family, and the buyers brought like snacks for everyone. They had like a charcuterie for everybody. It was like a party. It was like a party, and I thought, and we made a joke when she said how many were going to be there. I'm like, you're like having a party, and she called me after, and she goes, they brought food. Like they fed us. And I was like,
crazy.
Wow. I mean, that's smart though. Like, make light of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. Like, no one's sad when there's food involved.
Heck yeah.
Like, just feed them.
We do have one agent, and she brings us food every single inspection.
Man, I'm gonna have to up my game with the agents. I'm gonna have to let them know. Like, listen, we got to keep these home inspectors happy.
She brings like Hardee's breakfast sandwiches every single morning inspection,
and they love it.
It's delightful. Yeah.
They absolutely love it. That's good feedback. You hear that, guys?
Yeah.
Bring your home inspector food.
Yep.
They're hungry.
A donut. Sandwich.
I love it.
The worst thing is just in the summertime when it's like,
I was going to say, like, that must be so hard.
Attics are like 140. It is not easy work. Like, it's
oh no, I'm not jealous of you at all. I have no desire to be you. I respect your business big time. Like, if I was a home inspector, my biggest fear in Florida would be crawl spaces. Like, there's creepy crawlies in there. And like, what happens? Like, my fear would be that like I'm in the creepy crawly crawl space with a venomous snake.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it happens.
Yep. I've seen a couple.
What do you do? I mean, like, is there a protocol on like I always end up with like weird luck. I don't want to say bad luck, but I'd be like in the spot you can't move, and it'd be like right here. And I'd be like, all right, cool. Can't reach my phone either.
Like, at the end of the day, there's inherent risk in the home inspector job, especially in a crawl space or an attic space. I mean, we've had a couple
attics
guys
in the summer have got to be. I mean,
they're brutal.
Do you guys bring multiple changes of clothes, or you just deal with it?
I'm sure a few of the guys do have like an extra set of like shirts that they're putting on, but it's brutal. We just try to get hydrated and like not be in that attic space for super long. Snap a bunch of pictures and then like go.
Yeah, but that must be. It's supposed to be so hot.
I've had a few guys like put, unfortunately, like halfway fall through a ceiling and like, put their foot through the drywall.
Oh no, I never even thought of that.
That's happened a few times.
That must be
just like you're up there like balancing on like trusses and rafters and whatnot.
So devastating for everyone involved. Like,
terrible.
Home inspector's so mad.
I flooded a condo like
tell me about
2 years ago. It was the worst experience ever.
Stay tuned for part 2 of this Elevate with Us podcast.